You're watching the Kodakuna Rider YouTube channel.
Before we start to pull off this flywheel cover here, or crankcase cover, we've got to drain the oil. We've got to do that in.
Oh, the oil's black. Black as black, but remember it's been in there for at least 15 years. Oh, so what we want to do next is take off our footrest and our gear change lever here, which will allow us to pull this. So there we have our gear change lever set up off. We're ready to pull our cover off now. I've put them all in the plate there, so I know exactly where they come out. Now, here it comes. There we go. Great. Here it comes. Woo! Look at that. So there's our stator. Always gives them a little bit of a whack. And there we have it. And there she is. Oh, there we go. Here, this slides down into here. And there it is. We've changed over our stator. So, as you may remember from the last time, there was a big bit of metal sticking out. I'll show you here. Wow. Now, I originally thought that might be a spring, but what I found out from this hole here was it was actually this metal sticking out. I don't know how it happened, but I just broke it off and tapped it down. Now at the moment, this body, or this outer metal body, is moving on the inside of that clutch. So what I've got to do is, through these holes, with my punch, just bend the metal over a couple of times where it goes into a hole like this one here, which will prevent this from turning around on that clutch part there before we put it back together. So I've got my punch down here and my hammer. We'll go around and secure this so it doesn't spin, and then we'll be ready to. So I've got my outside metal lined up there, okay? So I'm just going to bend this outer metal casing into that hole there a little bit to lock it in place. You can see there I just bent that metal over there. Now it's not turning anymore. That's the one where the metal had bent. So I've pushed that back into the hole again with the punch. I've got another one here I can bend over. Can you see there? I've just pushed it down a little bit into that hole. Now it's not turning anymore, which is great. So now I'll get my springs and my plate and slide it back in here. Okay, there it is, all back together. Just sit it on the ground like that. Get it into place and roll it back over. The bolts here are completely gone. As you saw last time, my threads on my bolt have completely gone. Okay, I've gone down to the hardware store and I've got exactly the same bolts, so I'm just going to clean them up a little bit and put a little bit of Loctite, and then we're going to bolt them in. Won't have this trouble. Now, so just before you do put it all back together, make sure everything's working okay, like those springs are all working. Yep. Okay, they're all in place. says 24 Newton meters or 17 foot-pounds. Okay, so I've got those bolts in. I've got my tension wrench here set to 24 Newton meters. So let's just hold it and there we go. And there we go. It's all tightened down. Okay, so now you can see down in there the 3 bolts where they've come through the flywheel. So I'm going to get my little pointy drift and my hammer, and we're going to hit these bolts and burr them over a bit so that they can't come loose before we put it back together. I've just got my pointy drift there. I hope you can see down there where I've hit them and bent the bolts so that they can't come out anymore. Great. So now let's slip the top gear on here for the starter motor gear, and I can show you how that works. So that just sits in there, you can't go wrong. Ease it in there. So as you can see, I can spin this gear one way, but when it turns the other way, I can't spin it. Your starter motor throws in here and spins it around, but as soon as the engine is revving faster than the starter motor, then the flywheel will keep spinning. So I'm going to get some ties and put through here, hold it all together so that when we slide it back together, it's not going to fall apart and all those springs and all fall apart and into the engine. Okay, so what I've done is just put a few cable ties here and here. So that will allow me to slide this on, do it all up, cut the cable ties and pull it out, and nothing's going to fall apart, those springs and everything. So it's very easy. So the good news now is we're ready to put it back on the bike. So we're ready to slide it back together. I've cleaned everything. So we're going to slide this flywheel on now. You'll see under here there's a keyway. Can you see the keyway in there? Just in case you didn't know. There's a keyway. So you can't put it on wrong. So you just slide it around and it'll slip in. I'll show you. Of course I'm not on the keyway. You'll know when it's on the keyway. There it is. It's on the keyway there. We've got our bolt. We'll just put a little dab of Loctite on it. Not much, because someone will take this out again one day. So I'm just putting a little dab on it just to give it a bit more security. There we go. Don't want this bolt loosening off. Like that. So I'm going to get my electronic one that I pulled it off with, put it back in and bang, 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 do it up nice and tight again. And there we go. It's all done, nice and tight. I'm going to cut these off now. We'll pull them out. Okay, there we are. Okay, so there are our flywheels all on. So now we're going to start mucking around with all these gears. Now, you'll see in here, that's the starter motor. And this is our gear that I showed you before. You can see it can turn one way, but I'm pushing that down and it can't turn. Okay? You want to make sure that that's working like that before you bolt it all back together and something's wrong. So let's get these gears and I'll show you how they all go back together. So here's a photo of all your gears set up without the flywheel on. So you've got your starter motor gear right over on the left. Then you've got your 3 idler gears, your starter clutch gear, and your starter clutch assembly. So the idler gears, the gears there on the left are 2 gears. That's the shaft with the spline that goes together. And then the next gear is the shaft without a spline, and then that connects up to your starter clutch. So just make sure it all lines up together, nice in the center of every other gear, and you'll have no problems. Okay, so here is our crankcase cover. I've got a genuine Yamaha, so if you want to know the number there, 3JP1545101. So when you put these back together, you don't need any silicone on it or sealer. You don't need anything. They seal up perfect, just like that. So we slide this on here. There should be another pin. There is a little bit of figgly diggling when you put this back together, because you've got to line these up here, you've got to line these pins up here. The magnet is pulling everything. So slowly, steady, and we'll get it together. No problems. So here is my flywheel cover or crankcase cover with the new stator in there. You'll see how I fitted all that up on the next episode. Otherwise, this is just whack. And here we go. Let's slide this all back on, and hopefully it'll slide on easy, of course. That magnet grabs it. Oh, look at that. Woo! Beautiful. Yeah. Oh, didn't that slide back together beautiful? Hey? Oh. So, as you remember, we put our bolts all in here, so there's no mix-up now when we're sliding these all back together. We put the exact bolt back in the exact...
I've been waiting all my life for someone like you. I would watch the days go by, wasted and blue. I was out of use.
Okay, there's 10 Newton meters.
Every moment with you. Walking on air, and every day, every way. I feel I can't lose. I wanna shout it out, ain't no limit. I wanna shout it out to the world. You got me all worked up, got me spinning. I'm crazy for love, crazy for love.
So now I've got to feed these wires around up here, put the clips on, then I can put the cover on.
Crazy for love. Crazy for love.
Okay, so here is our little plate at the back here that we change over. So the number's 3JP1546101. So I can slide that back on. And then we've got it all back together.
Now every day, every night, every moment with you.
Again, we've got all our bolts here in place. There's no mucking around.
I feel I can't lose. I wanna shout it out, ain't no limit.
Well, there, it's all back together. Well, not 100%, but our starter clutch is back on, our flywheel's back on, our new stator is in there. I'm just waiting for a new regulator over here. So on the next episode, we'll test the clutch, we'll give it an oil change, and we'll make sure that all our electrical system is charging properly. Thanks very much for watching and subscribing. And always remember, drive like you know each other. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
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 Okay. Thank you.